I want you to just picture a modern city for a second. Think about millions of humans existing right beside each other. We're moving fast, we're sharing trains, squeezing into crowded elevators, sitting shoulder to shoulder in cafes. It's honestly a marvel of human proximity. But if you really pay attention, beneath all that noise and the daily routines, there's this very strange, slightly unsettling atmosphere hanging over modern life. We're living in an era where you can literally spend your entire day surrounded by faces, fielding constant notifications, just completely immersed in a sea of humanity, and still return home at night feeling completely, inexplicably empty. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're exploring this strange phenomenon.
Why does the most connected society in history feel so profoundly alone? It's a massive paradox, isn't it? I mean, you can wake up to messages, scroll through hundreds of people laughing, traveling, living their lives online, and technically be more in touch than literally any generation before us. Yet, somewhere beneath all that constant stimulation, something feels quietly and persistently missing. And the scary part? It rarely announces itself dramatically. It just kind of hides inside ordinary life. It hides in that late-night scrolling or inside those conversations that just never feel fully real.
Okay, let's dive into this, because to really get what's happening, we have to fundamentally reframe what loneliness actually is based on our source material. Loneliness is not simply the absence of people. It is the absence of emotional closeness. It's the absence of being deeply understood, seen, and recognized beyond just a superficial interaction. Modern society itself has slowly become psychologically isolating because we've somehow confused physical and digital proximity with actual psychological intimacy.
Which brings us to part one, a biological threat.
Think about it. For the vast majority of human history, our survival depended entirely on social connection. We're talking 100,000 years ago. We hunted together. 50,000 years ago, we worked together. 10,000 years ago, we struggled together. Present day? Emotionally intertwined survival. We evolved in these small, tight-knit tribes where life was just constantly shared. Connection was never an optional luxury. It was a biological imperative. Your nervous system literally evolved expecting closeness. It expects emotional familiarity and a deep sense of belonging.
And because of that ancient wiring, we're facing a pretty chilling modern reality. The brain interprets emotional isolation as danger. Your body doesn't experience prolonged loneliness as just some minor inconvenience or a sad mood. No, it treats it as a literal physical threat. This is exactly why a lack of deep emotional connection feels so physically heavy. It wrecks our sleep, spikes our stress, triggers anxiety, and even messes with our physical health. It's basically your body sounding a massive alarm, screaming that you are separated from the safety of the tribe. Moving on to part two, the illusion of connection. Modern digital platforms arrived in the completely reorganized human interaction, and they did it way faster than our primitive brains could ever adapt. And this brilliantly illustrates the core problem. We've completely confused communication with connection. Look at communication. It's defined by speed, endless interactions, and these carefully curated public performances. But true connection, that requires emotional presence. It requires depth and actually sharing a private emotional reality. A text message is not the same as emotional presence. Social media promised us this unlimited connection, but psychologically, it actually made us more visible while leaving us feeling totally misunderstood. We're just constantly comparing our own messy, private emotional reality against everyone else's curated public performances. Think of it kind of like a modern social diet. For a lot of people out there, 90% of their daily intake is purely social stimulation. Notifications, likes, casual nods at a coffee shop. But barely 10% is genuine emotional closeness. So we are consuming thousands of empty social calories every single day, yet we're left emotionally starving. You can receive messages all day long while secretly feeling entirely unseen. You can talk constantly without ever actually revealing what you truly feel. This leads us right into part three, escaping the silence. Silence reveals things distraction hides. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about how agonizing it feels to just sit in a room with zero stimulation for just 60 seconds. Honestly, most of us would rather read terms and conditions than sit entirely alone with our own thoughts. Modern boredom feels unbearable, but not because we actually lack entertainment. It's because removing all that external noise exposes the deep emotional emptiness that's just waiting underneath. And this turns into a fully automated, almost robotic reflex. You know the drill. Step one, we feel a brief flicker of emotional discomfort. Step two,
Instantly, without even consciously deciding to, we reach for our phones. Step 3, we refresh apps repeatedly, watching videos we're barely even paying attention to. And step 4, the goal is achieved. We successfully avoid our own emotional awareness. We don't do this because we're actually having fun or being entertained. We do it to protect ourselves. It's a defense mechanism to avoid confronting the loneliness we've been suppressing for years.
Which brings us to part 4, the fear of vulnerability. We are currently caught in this deeply painful psychological tug of war. On one side, we desperately crave intimacy. We want our hidden, authentic selves to be seen and understood, completely separate from our status or our productivity. Yet, simultaneously, modern life conditions us to be absolutely terrified of vulnerability. We fear the awkwardness. We fear the rejection. So the crucial point is how we react to this fear. We perform independence. We put up walls, we pretend we don't care, and we act like we're totally emotionally unaffected. But true connection requires the exact emotional risk that we are so desperately trying to avoid. And the result of this fear is honestly chilling. Two humans can literally share an apartment, share an office, or even share a whole life together for years without ever truly feeling psychologically known by one another. Physical presence alone just doesn't remove emotional distance. These emotional walls we build can become such ingrained daily habits that a person becomes incredibly skilled at functioning socially while remaining entirely distant on the inside. And this is the tragic reason why intense, crushing loneliness can, and absolutely does, exist right inside friendships, long-term relationships, and even families. Finally, part 5, forgetting how to connect. In its relentless, nonstop pursuit of speed and convenience, modern society accidentally stripped away the very foundations of human identity. Things like stable communities, deep conversation, long-term closeness, uninterrupted presence, and shared emotional experiences. We really have to remember that human identity is shaped, in part, through meaningful reflection from other people. We understand who we are through our connection to others. When you strip away those core conditions, people slowly begin to feel psychologically detached from life itself. We are quite literally starving for genuine emotional recognition. As our source material so powerfully notes, sometimes the loudest noise in modern life exists for one reason only: to prevent humans from hearing the emotional emptiness underneath. All that infinite scrolling, the endless digital entertainment, the hyper-productivity, it's all just an incredibly elaborate escape from ourselves. We are running from the quiet terror of feeling entirely disconnected in a world that is completely overflowing with people. So it leaves us with this final, profound question to consider. If we continue replacing genuine emotional closeness with digital distraction and public performance, will we slowly forget what genuine connection actually feels like? You see, loneliness doesn't just affect our passing emotions. Long term, it fundamentally changes our perception, our behavior, and our very identity. Our deepest fear isn't just being alone, it's losing the capacity to truly be with someone else. So ask yourself, in your daily life, are you just communicating or are you actually connecting?